This is Jack.
And this is Yost.
And this is the Jack and Yost podcast, coming to you on April 14th, 2020. Back for another podcast today. I'm going to talk a little bit more about ourselves, talk about a little more about things going on in the world, entertainment, comedy, all the stuff that interests us, and try to offer a perspective that is hopefully uniquely our own.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Second episode. Huh?
Yeah, episode 2.
Episode 2. Mm-hmm. I think it went pretty well last time.
Yeah, I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought it was going to be much worse.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe nobody else agrees with us.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we didn't do a good job at all. But we're gonna.
No way of knowing.
No way. I mean, eventually someone's gonna tell us that we did a bad job. But hopefully, right?
Yeah.
If you get some haters going, then maybe you did do something.
Maybe you did something right. I don't know.
All right, so let's talk a little entertainment first.
Right. Last time we did say we weren't going to talk about the virus all the time.
Yeah, we tried not to.
But,
this is the world we live in.
Yeah, there's no avoiding it right now. But I did find kind of a funny story. Probably not for him, but probably not for him.
Not for the people involved.
I don't know if you guys have heard or not, but Justin Timberlake is getting
JT
is getting some hate for commenting during a Zoom meeting that 24-hour parenting isn't human.
It's true. We used to throw our kids outside every single day.
Yeah, right. And, obviously, he's not the only one who's dealing with these new rules.
Yeah, different way of life now.
There's a different way of life going on right now. Mm-hmm. But Justin Timberlake has one kid and is living with his wife Jessica Biel in Montana at a private ranch.
Yeah, a giant private ranch.
Yeah,
with lots of things to do all the time
and lots of money.
And lots of money.
So,
boo-hoo, Justin.
Yeah, right. People don't really want to hear his complaints right now.
No,
it's hard to. It's hard to see those people's struggles when there are single parents who are trying to raise their kids during this and still
not allowed to work
or are not allowed to work, trying to find another job, or there are people who are nurses,
right,
and stuff, and
that would rather be home right now.
So I don't know if this was just like him being sarcastic or not.
Yeah, he was probably making a joke.
Yeah, hopefully it was just a bad joke.
Yeah,
and it's not. He wasn't actually, asking for pity.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, so social media kind of lit him up a little bit for that. And so it's understandable.
Yeah,
it's understandable.
I mean, the celebrities should be able to take it. Hopefully, Justin doesn't take it too hard. I imagine he's not going to.
No,
because he's still on his private ranch in Montana.
And I imagine it was probably just something he said offhandedly, not expecting it to stir up so much controversy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it kind of is a bummer if you are. The only thing that you could probably say is a bummer about being a celebrity is that everything you say matters in some way to someone.
Right, yeah.
Which probably sucks, I'd imagine. But, no matter how much money you have, I suppose, or bank account statement says, if you have to stay at home, all the celebrities apparently are staying at home. Which I guess is probably good, right? They got all the money in the world. Might as well stay home.
I guess. I don't know what else they would do.
I don't know. I mean,
all of their jobs have been canceled.
Yeah.
Hopefully they managed to save up some of the millions that they've earned.
And not just spend it on stuff.
Yeah, not just spend it on stuff. And they're hopefully being able to wait out this pandemic. Mm-hmm. But, everybody's going through the same thing right now. Mm-hmm. And
the self-isolation blues.
Yeah, the self-isolation blues. And it's, it seems remarkably unself-aware to complain about it when you already have millions of dollars.
Yeah, celebrities are not self-aware anyway.
Yeah,
all the basically hundreds of celebrities that have come out trying to teach people how to wash their hands.
Yeah,
telling people that they needed to stay home to save lives and stuff like that. I understand you have an audience, and if you feel like it's a responsibility, go ahead and say whatever you want. But also, you have millions of dollars. You have no reason to be out. Because you have all the millions of dollars. You don't have to worry about the day-to-day life or paying the bills next week or getting rent paid and stuff. So that being the case, shut up.
Yeah. It's sort of like self-fulfilling though, isn't it? Because there are people who listen to them, and maybe it would help people if like a celebrity got on social media and spread words of encouragement or tried to like teach people something. Yeah. But then at the same time, you have all these eyes on you, so then it's real easy to start thinking, oh, what I say must matter most.
Must matter, yeah. Right. Yeah. Who was the lady? What's the lady's name that was in the movie Pandemic?
I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead and look that up. She was, I believe, the main doctor in the movie Pandemic. She had to work with the people that study infectious diseases to have the correct terms in science and everything for the movie. And so she feels that she has the knowledge necessary to say, okay, little people, I'm going to teach you how to properly wash your hands.
Yeah.
That wasn't okay to me.
Yeah.
Now, some other people like Alton Brown and Gordon Ramsay, they made their videos just like their videos that they make where they're cooking. They made a video like how to wash your hands. And it was funny, especially Gordon Ramsay's. I thought it was funny.
Right.
But it's only because it's kind of in his lane. She's an actor. Yeah. Actress. She's an actress. Yeah. And she feels the need to tell people how to do things. And besides that, Gordon Ramsay's video was 40 seconds long, or was like 3 minutes long, and hers was 15 minutes long. So have some self-awareness.
Yeah, and it's like, it's like Gal Gadot and all those other actors and actresses singing Imagine.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or Idris Elba talking about how the coronavirus is the world beating up on us, or is the world punishing us for beating up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really know where it starts.
Yeah. I don't think Mother Nature constructed the virus in the Wuhan lab.
I don't know where it starts, like whether it begins with you actually wanting to help your fans, or if like you already start thinking that it's that you're important because of all the fans that you have. I'd like to. I mean, it's hard to say because I feel like it'd be a pretty easy trap for me to fall into if I were a famous actor and I had all these.
I mean, I think a lot of people do fall into it anyway. If enough people value your opinion, you start to believe yourself that it's as valuable as they think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens in everyday life. I get it. I understand why they're doing it because they think they're helping. Right. It's just, I don't know. It's like how Ryan Reynolds came about. Ryan Reynolds made that video, and he was basically beating up on the celebrities for feeling like they have something to say all the time. And he was like, do your part, but I'm just an actor. So listen to the experts. Yeah. You should approach it in that way.
Yeah. I still think I don't think Justin Timberlake actually thinks that he has it.
No, I don't think so either.
Like I said, I think it was probably just an offhand, like, funny comment. Yeah. But then people were upset by it. I feel.
Or at least, they had something to say too, right? So,
yeah.
Not to say that commenters have the ultimate authority.
Right. That's the other side of the sword, isn't it? It's like because of social media and because of things like cancel culture and stuff like that. A lot of people also had the misconception that anytime they're offended, they feel the need to
voice their opinion
and demand an apology for it. So that's also the flip side of the coin, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Right, so speaking of this self-isolation blues, though, we have friends that work office jobs and stuff, and they've had to start working from home. They're seeing some proof in their own lives or with people they know that this might be more serious than we originally thought it was. And so they're self-quarantining themselves. We have a friend that hadn't been outside for like 10 days.
Right.
Yeah. That's rough. Like I actually have some sympathy. We don't work office jobs.
Right.
We're technically listed as essential too. And so we've been going out to work and getting the fresh air and stuff. My wife has been basically home with the girls for 3 weeks. And she's going a little crazy too. Like she tries to get outside, but she's got nowhere else to go. She doesn't want to take the girls to the store.
Yeah.
So it's real, people aren't meant to be inside and not social.
There's also concerns about people who are prone to depression or anxiety. Isolation is very bad for depression.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, there's been a lot of proof that people are going through really tough times, even mentally and emotionally, and
not only that, but cases of domestic abuse as well.
Oh yeah, and that's I don't really want to blame coronavirus, the domestic abuse on coronavirus. I feel like it's a little different as far as depression goes.
Right.
Right. So like depression stuff, those kind of issues. It makes sense if you're someone that has negative thoughts or has trouble with negative thoughts, that if you have to be home, those negative thoughts are going to be, more prevalent. You're going to have more trouble with it. I don't think anyone's prone to abusing someone else.
Yeah.
So I think you're just a jerk, and lots of other stronger words.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's really, really sad. I don't want to, if someone's abusing their family right now and we know about it, something should be done about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's
just happening.
Yeah.
Right?
Just meaning to point out that there are other, besides the pandemic, there are other side effects to self-isolating, which is why it's important to try to connect with people like we talked about before, like even over video games.
Yeah.
It's important to try to maintain that connection because we're social creatures. We're not meant to be alone all the time.
It's true. We need to be with other people. We need to talk to other people. And if you can connect with people virtually or any way that you can do it, you should. Right. So especially your friends and family, especially if you have older family or something, or older friends that they're the most at risk. And a lot of them are scared to death,
Yeah.
And so
our own grandmother is.
Yes. Grandma has been very concerned with the coronavirus. And she's a very active lady. She likes to go on hikes and go golfing and go on trips. And she's been stuck at home and just going nuts.
Yeah.
And so, if you have a family member or someone in your community that that is older, do your best to be in contact with them and, maybe send them a little something or do a little something for them. My wife and I have tried to, at least with the older people in our church, we've been trying to make sure that we visit them and talk to them on the phone and stuff, and just make sure that they know that, we're still around and we care about them and all that, So that's all good.
But speaking of self-isolation and guidelines regarding social distancing, today our own governor, Gavin Newsom, announced that he was going to get together with the governors. I don't know the names of the governors of Washington and Oregon.
I don't know their names either.
Yeah.
No.
But he was going to get together with the governors of Washington State and Oregon State to start working on a plan to relax the social distancing guidelines for those three states.
Did you watch that at all? I watched some of it.
I watched a short video about it, but because there have been reports that California, Washington, and Oregon have managed to slow the spread of the virus.
Yeah.
Some numbers: California has reported 22,348 confirmed cases. 810 of those people have recovered. And there have been 687 deaths. Washington State has reported 10,224 confirmed cases, no recoveries so far, and 491 deaths. And I think Oregon has come in the lowest with 1,584 confirmed cases, no recoveries, and 53 deaths. So those are, relatively small numbers compared to, say, a place like California. I mean, a place like New York, which has over 200,000 confirmed cases.
Yeah, and a lot more deaths.
Yeah. So we have managed to slow the spread of the virus.
Yeah. There's lots of opinions about why that's happening too.
Yeah.
We think that, or at least there's suspicion that the virus has been around a little longer than we thought it had been. And so maybe we have a little bit of a herd immunity thing happening, or
I read a story though about a Seattle doctor who debunked that theory.
Oh yeah, what did you say?
So there was a theory that COVID-19 could have been introduced to California back during November of 2019, because we thought we were just having a early flu season, but Trevor Bedford, prominent Seattle medical researcher for the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center, took to Twitter and debunked that theory, saying that COVID was first introduced to the U.S. in January and February 2019, because there was a theory going around that California could have been exposed to it earlier.
Right.
And the theory was trying to explain why we were experiencing a slower spread rate than New York, even though we have double the population and we had a week's long head start on the virus spread. But Bedford said that they had tested 3,600 samples collected in January 2020 for COVID-19 status and had found 0 positives.
No, gotcha.
And then tested 3,308 samples collected in February 2020 and found a first positive on February 21st, with a total of 10 samples testing positive in February.
Yeah, so we would have found some of that first go around.
So if it had been spreading in winter of 2019, then we would have found positives in January of 2020.
Right. You know, it would be great if we had been introduced to it and we know that this is a herd immunity thing.
And we had been able to develop herd immunity.
Yeah, which would be great. But if that's not the case, then that just means that the steps we've taken were the right ones.
Right.
Right. And that that hopefully
we were successfully able to slow the spread.
Yeah, which I have no doubt. If mitigation is the thing that stops it, then I have no doubt that California did it, because, you know, California likes to listen to the government. So
and then even talking about how, you know, California has like double the population of New York.
At least as a whole,
Yeah, at least as a whole. I mean, California is a very big state, though.
Yeah, a lot of space.
Yeah, and a lot of like rural areas too, as opposed to New York City, where that has the most numbers. They're on, like, how big is the island? Like
just a few miles. I don't know how big it is,
a few something square miles.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of it's a lot denser than California is.
Yeah, they don't even sell 2-person bunk beds. They're 8-person bunk beds.
But I think that's good news that now, thanks to this thanks to this mitigation, we've been able to slow the spread, and there are plans in place to relax the social distancing guidelines. I don't know what exactly will be relaxed.
Well, I listened to that portion of it, and they talked about how it's not relaxing it now. It's not like now into the future. They're still saying we're waiting till the end of this month before we decide whether we're going to go. And they're talking about, like, be prepared that restaurants have, like, less capacity than they did before so that people can be farther apart.
Right.
Be prepared to see masks around.
Yeah.
They're talking about laxing it over time, which you've probably figured that was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to happen. It looks like they'll still be on the same timeline. I'd be super surprised if Trump extends it past the end of this month. But, you know, that's the thing, right? Is if we are, a lot of people are saying, like, we're losing our freedoms, and I'd be one of the people that was first on that train. But it's only losing a freedom if it's like the pockets of people that are, like, trying to take legal action, where, like, the sheriffs are coming in and hauling people away to jail or stopping them from going to a church or ticketing and stuff like that. Like, that's happening in very small pockets. And usually the government official above that person is like, no, you're not going to do that.
Right.
You know, right now, though I don't like 100% every little thing that we're doing, it has been just mostly a suggestion, which is America.
Right, yeah.
The government should be able to say, hey, I think we should do it this way. And the people decide, all right, yeah, we'll do it that way.
Right.
That's how it should be. And that's really what happened in California. You know, Governor Newsom said that we needed to shelter in place and do all that stuff. And people just kind of did it, you know. And no legal action had to be taken. And luckily nothing did, because then that sets dangerous precedent for the future. Now, the thing is in a month, are they going to be like, you can have church again? Are they going to say the kids can go back to school if they take precautions?
Yeah.
Or are they going to say, like, we want you to go back to work. We want you to go back to church. We want you to go back to school. We want you to take precautions to make sure it doesn't spread too fast.
Right.
You wear masks. It'd be a good thing. But they can't be ticketing people for not wearing masks. See, that's the whole thing, right? The government is allowed to suggest what we should do, but they really should not be enforcing that you can't gather, because that's against the Constitution.
Right.
You can't do these things under penalty of law. Like, that's not America. You know, that's not America. So hopefully it doesn't get to that point. Hopefully the people are able to make the decisions
Right.
for themselves.
I'm choosing to be optimistic about it. And,
I'm trying to.
And think that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
That come the end of April, these 3 states, Washington, California, and Oregon, will be able to relax the social distancing guidelines and be able to convince the people that it's okay so long as you take precautions. At the beginning, like what the CDC was saying, just, wash your hands, don't touch your face when you're in public.
Right.
But then the virus kept spreading, people got scared, and, more drastic measures were taken. But hopefully, we're able to relax the guidelines. People are able to go back to work, go back to school, go back to church. And then there's the other matter of, the people themselves, because a lot of people are scared right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully that once the government say we can start doing these things again, people will actually start doing them.
Yeah, I'm worried. I'm a little worried about that.
Yeah. Yeah,
'cause-
see, it is concerning, but as of right now, I don't really know how it is in the other states. We see what affects us in California, but as of right now, it seems like we've been able to slow the spread, and at the end of the month, hopefully, we'll be able to start returning back to normal.
Yeah, I would hope so. And like I said, we're trying to take precautions in our own business to do things safely and to take care of ourselves and our customers. And I think everybody should be doing that, just in case.
Yeah.
But I also, as you know, I kind of like the American spirit that at first says, why should I do that? And I think we should always keep that, that spirit. Governments can get dangerous.
Yeah, they can.
And so, but I think we've been able to handle this. I'm pretty proud of most of our governors, of our president, the task force, the way they've done it. Don't like the media, but I do think that most people, like we said yesterday, I think cooler heads have prevailed. Most people are trying to handle this situation in a smart, decisive way that doesn't infringe on too many of our liberties, which is nice.
But I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see. Mm-hmm. But onto lighter news. Well, again, lighter news in the sense that it doesn't have to do with big government.
Yeah, infringing on liberties.
Or like a global pandemic. Mm-hmm. You remember the XFL?
Yeah, of course. I watched 4 or so games, maybe.
Do you remember? Oh, wait, no, you've been too young. We would have been too young, but I remember hearing about it before. It was
Vince McMahon's other stuff?
Yeah. He tried to do it before in 2001.
Yeah, I think Trump was even in on that.
Yeah, I think he was actually. He tried to make the XFL as like a I don't know, more extreme version of the NFL. The LA Magazine called it the wacky, tacky, controversial, ultimately catastrophic failure of an NFL alternative.
Yeah.
So naturally, the next step after that would be to reboot it 20 years later.
Right. The logical next step.
The logical next step. Mm-hmm. The original XFL lasted 12 weeks. I don't think the new one even made it to that.
Well, that wasn't 100% their fault, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the virus came in and knocked out their season.
Right, yeah. If you guys don't know, the XFL filed bankruptcy, I think either this week or last week.
That's a real bummer.
Yeah,
it was better.
Was it?
Yeah, I mean, games were the way that the gameplay was interesting.
You think about the original XFL though; it came out in the Attitude Era of the WWF. You know, it's like when the divas were just models.
Yeah,
and to I don't really know how much of this was actually Vince McMahon's doing. I don't think it was a whole lot of it. But to the WWE's credit, the women's division of wrestling is no longer just
bikini contest.
Yeah. It's actual proper wrestling now.
Yeah,
I haven't watched any.
I think Ronda Rousey's a wrestler now.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah,
she is. I haven't watched any of it. I haven't watched WWE in 5 years.
Right.
But but to their credit, it's no longer just divas. I don't know. Tickle fighting? What do they do?
Pillow fights and crap.
Pillow fights and stuff like that. But unfortunately, even though the XFL wasn't as tacky as it was back then, there was a segment where Vince McMahon tried to get a cameraman to sneak into the cheerleaders' locker room.
Yeah,
so
that was his deal.
It was a different time. Unfortunately, though, amid
The XFL had no chance.
Yeah, the XFL still had no chance. And it's not just the pandemic. The pandemic probably contributed a lot to it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, are you gonna tell me some stats now?
yeah, I was because because in I think it was in February the XFL generated about $14 million in revenue and net
That was their first month, right?
and net losses of about 44 million.
Ooh, that's not
Yeah.
a good number.
So I wonder how much coronavirus actually contributed to their filing Chapter 11.
What were the February numbers?
February.
Well, we already had the virus going around.
Yeah.
But people weren't so nervous about it in February.
Yeah. So see, I wonder. I mean, like, I have no doubt the coronavirus is sort of indirectly responsible for them filing Chapter 11, but I feel like it just hurried the process along.
Yeah, it did.
Because this isn't just the XFL. Any other like
The $25
organization,
million loss.
yeah, any
Goodness.
other organization that has tried to become like an alternative to the NFL has always failed.
That's because the NFL is a mammoth.
Yeah,
Mammoth.
Mammoth.
Mammoth?
It's mammoth.
Mammoth.
It's not mammoth. But no, it's like nobody's ever like, even when they try to stagger the season so that they're doing football when the NFL isn't, it's never, I don't know why, but it's never
Because you have an attachment.
yeah, I guess
to
so.
the NFL.
You have an attachment, but
to
it
tradition.
happened what with the AFL, the American Football League.
That was worse.
Yeah.
That was like 2-3 games and then they were done.
Yeah. So I don't know, how long did the XFL last this time? Do you remember when it first?
I think they got pretty close to the end of their season. I think they got like 9 or 10 games in, something like that.
So they're filing Chapter 11.
Too bad.
Too bad.
Yeah.
So sad. They're trying to sell.
I mean, it's kind of cool the way they did it. And I tell you about how they had like, you could hear the play-by-play calling and you could hear the players. They interviewed kickers. That was something. They'd interview the players right after they did something on the field. That was kind of cool.
So Chapter 11 means they're filing for bankruptcy and they're trying to sell themselves off.
Yeah, no,
but it seems like whoever buys this is just going to buy a lot of debt.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the numbers, I don't have them with me, but if you look at the numbers, I don't think they paid a single dime to anyone during their season.
The players?
I know they owe the players a lot of money. They owe stadiums.
That's not
They
great.
owe the people who printed the jerseys.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, so
That's not good.
Whoever decides to buy this,
You want to come take this massive debt liability?
Yeah. So it just seems like they're buying a lot of debt.
Yeah.
But so that's XFL news.
But the reason why the XFL didn't work is because the reason why any substitute for the NFL doesn't work is because you have an attachment to your team.
Yeah, the NFL this year has been around 100 years.
Yeah, and it, your whole life since you were a kid. If you're a football fan now, more than likely you've been a fan since you were a kid, either because of family or friends or where you lived was just saturated in that team's.
I mean, that's why you're a Rams fan.
Yeah, I'm a Rams fan because my first memories of football was when the St. Louis Rams won the Super Bowl. Because Dad was so excited that the Rams were going to win the Super Bowl or going to the Super Bowl. It was enough to make me want to pay attention because he cared about it so much. Yeah. And so, ever since then, I've been a Rams fan. That was 2000. I was young,
Yeah.
And so, and now they're back in California, and doing all kinds of weird stuff. And I still love them.
Should we talk about that?
I mean, I think I have to, as a Rams fan, I have to address it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they're making some weird choices.
Who have they lost?
Todd Gurley's gone. Brandon Cooks is gone.
Cooks is gone. I think they've lost every good player on their defense besides Aaron Donald.
Well, no, Aaron Donald's there. They brought Michael Brockers back. But they lost probably the best up-and-coming outside linebacker in Corey Littleton. I mean, he got paid huge money from the Raiders. Yeah. But still, even though we're starting over.
Yeah.
Apparently we're starting over. I hate that we lost Todd Gurley because he's probably my favorite running back of all time.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to go to the Falcons and then be a good running back again, and then I'm going to have to blame Sean McVay for it. And I don't want to do that, but it's
the
probably
Rams
gonna
have
happen.
made some pretty big deals. I think Les Snead, is that his name?
The general manager.
I think Les Snead has kind of sort of what is the saying? Put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
In signing all these big deals.
Well,
with
we were
people.
trying to win those.
Yeah,
They went for the gold each time.
Yeah, they went for the gold. But I mean, it kind of seems like they wrote these huge checks, and they
kind of bounced.
Yeah, they kind of bounced. That's kind of what it seems.
Yeah.
I heard that like they still owe Todd Gurley money.
Yeah, like $5 million.
Yeah, they still owe. Shoot, I forget his name. White dude, long hair.
Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews.
Yeah.
They still owe Clay Matthews money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, because they spent a lot on Aaron Donald.
They spent a lot on everybody.
They spent a lot.
They gave
on
Jared Goff.
Yeah, they spent a lot on Aaron Donald. It seems like more and more quarterbacks are like holding out for huge paychecks, which sort of makes sense. Sort of. I mean, there's a lot on the quarterback's shoulders. Yeah. A lot of people blame quarterbacks first anytime something goes wrong.
Yeah, I mean, well, they do have control of the ball.
They do have control of the ball, but
they should be the highest paid person on the team. But these contracts are gigantic.
Yeah,
and
they've been. I mean, and then
they gave Jared Goff like $110 million.
Yeah,
over 4 years or something. Or 5 years.
And then I mean, it was a bad season last year. It was a bad season last year. Somebody, I don't know who, paid somebody to put a hit on the Rams' offensive line.
Apparently. I don't know if that really happened. People were sniping them from the.
They all got run over by trucks.
Yeah. As soon as week 1 was over, week 2 they went into the stadium and someone was sniping them from the crow's nest.
So already they were scrambling last year. They gave up a lot of draft picks to secure people like. Who was it they brought on? Ramsey.
Yeah,
Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
They brought him on for I think like they gave up like 2 first-round picks. I think.
Yeah, and Les needs firstborn.
Yeah, and Les needs firstborn son. So it just seems like a bad situation, and I don't know. I mean, we don't even know when the season is going to start this year.
Yeah, I know. See, that's the one thing. As far as all these things we've interrupted because of the coronavirus, if you mess with the NFL season, there will be massive revolt.
Yeah, when does the season start?
It will start preseason in August if we're on schedule.
Yeah.
If that gets moved, there is going to be problems.
People aren't even there's not even any practices going on right now. I mean, players can practice at their homes, yes. I guess, but
yeah, I mean, as far as training camp is supposed to start.
working on things like timing and cadence with and working out cadences and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff you can't practice alone.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't have started yet.
Oh, yeah.
So the draft happens at the end of this month, and then I think the camps start in June.
Yeah.
So, or possibly the end of May. But that's the thing, though, is I'm worried about that. Okay,
yeah.
See, football fans are nuts.
Yeah,
and if you mess with American football, there will be problems. There will be problems.
As far as things are with the Rams, though, they had that great season in 2018.
Yeah,
made it to the Super Bowl. I mean,
burned.
It was a terrible Super Bowl all around. They had Maroon 5. For the halftime performance, that should have
20 years too late.
That should have told you. That should have told you how bad it was going to be. No, I'm kidding. But they had that great year. Mm-hmm. I heard a whole bunch of talking about how much of a genius Sean McVay was.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of weird calls made in the 2019 season.
Yeah, I mean a lot of injuries too.
A lot of injuries.
You can't win with injuries.
Can't win with injuries, but I mean, it's just it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what the Rams 2020 season looks like. It'll be interesting to see what the 2020 season looks like as a whole. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the 2020 season looks like visually too. This new redesign is absolutely terrible. It's just terrible. It's like that looks like it was made by a student.
I know. It's the weirdest decision I've ever seen. It's a total. They said it's new school meets old school. Yeah, I don't see how.
There's a reason why those schools are separate.
Yeah, we keep those apart from each other on purpose.
So
we'll see. They haven't released the uniforms yet either. Yeah. Then the stadium's gonna start. That's the thing. The biggest problem is the stadium is this year. They got this $3 billion stadium or $2 billion stadium that might not have anybody in it.
Yeah.
That is going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I'm sure Stan Kroenke, the owner of the Rams, is pooping his pants, wondering what's going to happen with that. But hopefully everyone can go to the game if they wear masks.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Like, there's no such thing as social distancing in a stadium.
No, you can't.
Unless you want to like only sell like a quarter of the tickets to fill it up.
Yeah.
You can put people 6 chairs apart from each other.
Talk about a business you might want to be in. If you got the ability to start a business where you fabricate masks.
There are already businesses popping up like that. I've seen them on Instagram.
Because they're going to be everywhere.
Yeah.
You're going to want to, we have, it's just in the last couple of years that every store has like a little sanitary wipe thing so you can wipe down the carts. That is going to be a mask dispenser now too. Yeah. So everyone can put a mask on before they go in the store. I'm not opposed to that. But it's weird, even so. So who knows? Maybe we start making some masks.
Yeah. Who knows? But the Rams now have the monumental task of building up a team around Jared Goff and Aaron Donald, having given up all their first-round picks.
Well, they traded away Brandon Cooks, so we have a second-round pick for the first time in a very long time. And we'll see what we do with that.
Yeah.
But, enough about the Rams, though. Because I'm sure anybody that listens to this probably isn't going to care about the Rams.
Yeah.
It matters to us, okay? It's our show.
So, I guess we'll see what happens. That's a lot. That's a lot of what's going on nowadays. Mm-hmm. Is just waiting and seeing what happens. Mm-hmm. You take things as they come. Yeah. Like, you prepare as you can, but you take things as they come. And this is unprecedented for everybody.
Yeah, and it's interesting though to think about how, people have always, at least I'm somebody that looks ahead to the future a lot. And my future has been, it's been pulled in a lot, whereas I feel like most of the time I'm looking like a year or farther ahead. Right. Yeah. Now I'm like, what's the next couple of weeks going to look like? Right. Yeah. And that's really different for me. Yeah. And that's, but that's just kind of how it is. We don't know how things are going to change from one day to another. Yeah. And we don't know, how life will be different, if it'll be worse or if it'll be better. Not to say that our life is bad. Even with all the restrictions and all the problems that are going on in the United States, goodness, we're blessed, right? Yeah. We have food to eat. Most people do anyway. We have infrastructure that makes it so if somebody isn't going to be able to afford food for the next month, they could get food and, Medi-Cal and stuff and food stamps. They're all doing their thing and taking care of people. And, so we're a blessed nation. Yeah. Even in these times of uncertainty, like there's a lot of questions you won't have answers to. And, thank the good Lord that he's sought to provide for us. Yeah. But it's just, I know it's hard to do. It is hard to do when you have to worry about having enough work to provide for your kids. Yeah. Or to put food on the table and stuff, but you do all you can, and then you deal with things as they come. Yeah, right. And we need to do a show about our faith, and how it influences our lives. Anybody of faith, it should be the thing that influences everything you do. Right. It does. It influences our decisions, and now, especially in this harder time, it influences what our mindset is about this whole situation. So we need to do that. But it's time, it's in times of uncertainty it kind of opens your eyes to see how deep your faith runs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how important it is really to you. And that's certainly been the case as we've all been dealing with these things. It sort of makes you ask yourself, do I really trust God to provide for me during these times? Yeah. And like you said, he has. Mm-hmm. he has to this point. Yeah. Extremely blessed. And extremely blessed, yeah. That's the case for a lot of people right now. Mm-hmm. And it's good that we are starting to see movement towards, returning to normal. Mm-hmm. We're starting to see numbers even out. Mm-hmm. Starting to see people recover from it. Even if we get to the end of this month and the measures aren't relaxed too much, there's still social distancing guidelines, and there probably will be. Mm-hmm. I think it's important to remember that
even during these hard times. And I mean, and it's funny to call them hard times because if you think,
These are American hard times.
these are American hard times. Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine if this happened in like the 80s?
Yeah, that's the thing that people have been talking about a lot, spreading around. They're like, if
There's
it happened,
there's no such thing as like working from home or teleconferencing or stuff. I mean, I guess you could do it over the phone, but it'd be a lot harder.
yeah, and you had minutes.
And you had minutes and stuff. It's important to remember that. It's important to remember the good and how we have been able. I feel like we have been able to cope with this so well because of the nation we live in. God bless America.
Yeah.
Because of the nation we live in and because of the day and time we live in. Like, churches have been able to still hold services. People have still been able to work
And connect with each other.
And I know that's not the case for everybody. And, I'm sorry that it's not the case for everybody, but it's good to remember the ways that you've been blessed.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You got to be grateful.
You have to be grateful.
Yeah, for everything. Whether you're a person of faith or not,
It's important to remember that we don't have to be in this alone.
No.
It's important to remember that there are things that have been provided to us that make it easier to cope with this.
Yeah. And if you're not a believer, look to that good book.
Yeah.
Because there's some comfort there that you might not have had before. We're a blessed people and a blessed nation. We live in the most free country on the planet, and we need to look out for each other. The spirit of America is to take care of others. Our country has taken care of a lot of nations and a lot of people throughout all of time. And right now is a time for us to rely on each other, not just the government. Don't just rely on the government, but help when you can. If you have been blessed and you do have something, you need to take care of someone else. You need to try to take care of somebody else. And that's the most important thing.
What does Psalm say? Yeah. I've never seen the righteous forsaken or his seed begging bread.
Yeah. Right.
And that doesn't mean that hard times won't come and lean times won't come and that doesn't mean that there won't be times where your faith gets tested. I think that's part of having faith.
Right.
Is the tests come and it helps your faith to grow.
Right.
Because people only grow under stress.
Right.
As much as that hurts, sometimes people only grow under stress. But it does provide a comfort.
Yeah. It does.
That's important to have. I think we're about out of time for now.
Thanks for being with us today. We hope that you had a good time listening. We hope we had something good to say.
We hope that it was uplifting and inspiring, even amidst the bad news.
Yep. And we hope that you're with us again next time.
Until then, I'm Yost.
And I'm Jack. And this is the Jack and Yost podcast. Talk to you next time.